You spend your whole life looking for answers because you think the next answer will solve all your problems, make you a little less miserable because when you run out of questions, you don't just run out of answers, you run out of hope. This is quoted from one of my favorite TV series characters, Gregory House, from the series House MD. And as we are going to learn about doctors today, I thought this is the perfect opportunity to mention it in the intro. Hey Backbenchers, I'm Tiasha and this is part 2 of Word Power Made Easy by Norman Lewis. How to talk about doctors. And here is a teaser review of the chapter. The first medical specialist. What's wrong with you? To find out what ails you and why, this specialist gives you a thorough physical examination using an impressive array of tests, X-ray, blood chemistry, urinalysis, cardiogram and so on. So, he is an internist. Next is female troubles. This specialist treats the female reproductive and sexual organs. He or she is a gynecologist. If you have seen the previous video, you will know that gyne means woman. So anything related to gyne means something that has to deal with a woman. Next is having a baby. This specialist delivers babies and takes care of the mother during and immediately after the period of her pregnancy. So he or she is an obstetrician. Is your baby ill? This specialist limits his practice to youngsters, taking care of babies directly after birth, supervising their diet and watching over their growth and development, giving them the series of inoculations that has done so much to decrease infant mortality and soothing their anxious parents. He or she is a pediatrician. Next is skin clear. Like so many of our internal organs, our skin is also subject to diseases and infections of various kinds, running the gamut from simple acne and eczemas through impetigo, psoriasis and cancer. There is a specialist who treats all such skin diseases. He or she is called a dermatologist. Next is eyes okay. The physician whose specialty is disorders of vision like myopia, astigmatism, cataracts, glaucoma, etc. may prescribe glasses, administer drugs or perform surgery is an ophthalmologist. Next is how are your bones? This specialist deals with the skeleton structure of the body, treating bone fractures, slip disc, clubfoot, curvature of the spine, dislocation of the hip, etc. and may correct the condition either by surgery or by the use of braces or other applicants. Is an orthopedist. Does your heart go pitter-patter? This specialist treats diseases of the heart and the circulatory system. Is a cardiologist. Next is your brain working? This physician specializes in the treatment of disorders of the brain, spinal cord and the rest of the nervous system. Is a neurologist. The last one is, are you neurotic? This specialist attempts to alleviate mental and emotional disturbances by means of various techniques, occasionally drugs or electroshock, more often private or group psychotherapy. Is a psychiatrist. Okay, so we have learned 10 new words today. Now it's time for some quick exercises to recall what we have learned so far. At this point you can pause the video and write down your answers and correct them with the help of the answer keys given. You can also write down your answers in our comment section. As you may know, Word Power Made Easy is very popular because of its unique method of learning English vocabulary, and These exercises are really essential in the process, so make sure that you don't skip the parts. Now we are heading towards the origins and related words. The first one is inside you. Internist and internal derive from the same Latin root internus, which means inside. The internist is a specialist in internal medicine in the exploration of your insides. Do not confuse the internist with the intern who serves as an apprenticeship inside the hospital. The next one is doctors for women. The Greek word gyne means woman and logos means science. Etymologically, gynecology is the science of woman. Obstetrician derives from the Latin word obstetrix, which means midwife, which in turn has its source in a Latin verb meaning to stand. Midwives stand in front of the woman in labor to aid in the delivery of the infant. The suffix "ician" as in obstetrician, physician, musician, etc. means expert. The next one is children. Pediatrician is a combination of Greek paidos, which means child, aitria means medical healing, and ician means expert. So etymologically it means medical healing of a child. Now you see the word ped you see in words like pedestal, pedal or pedestrian comes from the Latin word pedis, which means foot. Do not confuse between pedis and paidos. The next one is pedagogy that combines paidos with agagos, which means leading. Etymologically, the leading of children towards what? Towards their growth, development and maturity. Pedagogy basically refers to the principles and methods of teaching. Next is pedagogue, which means narrow-minded, straight-laced, old-fashioned dogmatic teacher whom we do not like much. Similarly, demagogue means someone who misleads people like a politician. The next one is skin deep. The word dermatologist comes from the Greek word derma, that means skin. Many other words are formed with this root word like epidermis, that means the outermost layer of the skin. Then taxidermist, whose business is taxidermy, which means to prepare, stuff and mount the skin of animals. Then there is pachyderm, that means an animal with an unusually thick skin like elephant or rhinos. The next one is dermatitis, that means any kind of skin inflammation, irritation or infection. So now we talk about the eyes habit. Ophthalmologist comes from the Greek word ophthalmos, that means eye, and logos, that means science or study. An ophthalmologist is also known as oculist. Ocular is an adjective that refers to the eye. Monocle is a lens for one eye, sported by characters in old movies as a symbol of the British so-called upper class. Next one is binoculars, field glasses that increase the range of two eyes. Moving on to the next one, optometrists are not physicians, but they measure vision, test for glaucoma and prescribe and fit glasses. The next one is opticians. They fill an ophthalmologist or optometrist's prescription, grinding lenses according to the specifications. So as we are half done with the root words, it's time for another quick fun exercise to recall what we have just learned. So moving on to the next session, the first one is the straighteners. The orthopedist is so called from the Greek roots orthos, that means straight or correct, and paidos, that means child. The orthopedist by etymology means straightens the children. But today that means a specialty that treats deformities, injuries and diseases of the bones and joints of adults as well as children. The next one is orthodontia, that means the straightening of the teeth with the help of braces and other techniques. The next one is the heart. Cardiologist combines Greek cardia, that means heart, and logos, that means science. The specialty is cardiology and the adjective is cardiological. So a cardiac condition refers to some malfunction of the heart. A cardiogram is an electrically produced record of the heartbeat. The instrument that produces this record is called a cardiograph. The next one is the nervous system. Neurologist derives from the Greek neuron, that means nerve, and as we know that logos means science. Neuralgia is acute pain along the nerves and their branches. Neuritis is inflammation of the nerves. Then neurosis is combining neuron with the suffix osis, that means abnormal or diseased condition. So etymologically that means a disorder of the nerves. Next is neurotic, is both the adjective form and the term for the person suffering from neurosis. So now comes the last part, that is the mind. A neurosis is not a form of mental unbalance. A full-blown mental disorder is called a psychosis, a word built on Greek psyche, that means spirit, soul or mind, plus the suffix osis. The next one is psychiatrist, that is built on psyche plus iatria, that means medical healing. So a psychiatrist means a mind healer. The next one is geriatrics, that means a specialty that deals with the particular medical needs of the elderly, that comes from the Greek root word geros, that means old age. The specialist is a geriatrician and the adjective is a geriatric. And we are done with the chapter and it's time for the final exercise. Let's start with some true and false questions. So number 1 is gynecologists patients are mostly men. False, it will be women. Ophthalmology is the study of the eye diseases. True. Orthopedists is the specialty dealing with the bones and the joints. True. Number 4, a cardiac patient has a heart ailment. True. A person with a bad bite may profit from orthodontia. True. Neuralgia is a disease of the bones. False. A neurosis is the same as the psychosis. False. Neuritis is an inflammation of the nerves. That is true. The next one is psychiatry is a medical specialty that deals with mental, emotional and personality disturbances. That is true. Next is cardiograph is a device for recording heartbeats. True. Psychiatric treatment is designed to relieve tensions, fears and insecurities. True. A doctor who specializes in pediatrics has very old patients. False. A geriatrician has very young patients. That is also false because they have older patients. Lastly, we will do a chapter review. Do you recognize these words? Number 1, specialist in female ailments is a gynecologist. A specialist in children's diseases is a pediatrician. The specialist in eye diseases is a ophthalmologist. A specialist in emotional disorders is a psychiatrist. Pertaining to Medical treatment of the elderly is a geriatric. The straightening of teeth is orthodontia. Personality disorder is neurosis. Mentally unbalanced is psychotic. And principles of teaching is pedagogy. And with this I end this video. See you in the next one.